So today we're going to find the perimeter of a rectangle. And I'm going to teach you a specific strategy called the times 2 trick to find the perimeter and even to find a missing side length. So what is perimeter? If you have a rectangle, perimeter is the distance around that rectangle. So I teach my students, we got a little mouse here, right? And there's a little cheese right behind him, but he's not smart enough to realize it. So the mouse has to travel all the way around, first down this length, and across that width, and then across that length, and then across that width, all the way around this box to get the cheese, which was right behind him, right? Silly mouse. So perimeter is the distance around a rectangle or any shape. We can figure that out by adding the length plus the width plus the length plus the width to find the total distance. And here's the equation. Perimeter equals length plus width plus width. And it doesn't matter if you do length plus width plus length plus width, or whether you do length plus width, because based on the commutative property, it doesn't matter what order you do it in. As long as you're still adding these distances up, you're always going to get the same total distance. So now that we know the equation for perimeter and what perimeter means, let's do one. Here's a rectangle. It's a 5 by 3. The length is 5 and the width is 3. I know that rectangles have opposite sides that are parallel and congruent. So if this length is 5, then I know this length is 5. And if this width is 3, then I know this width is 3. And I have enough to find my perimeter. Length, 5, plus the other 5 plus 5, plus width, 3, plus the other width, 3. 5 plus 5 equals 10. 3 plus 3 equals 6. And if I add them up, 10 plus 6, I should get a perimeter of 16 units. And it would be the same thing if we did 5 plus 3, which is 8, and 3 plus 5, or 5 plus 3, which is 8. Because we know that 8 plus 8 equals 16. So the perimeter is 16. Now that we know that, I'm going to teach you the times 2 trick to find perimeter. Okay, and the times 2 trick states that instead of doing length plus width plus this width, you can try something a little faster. We know that something plus itself is the same thing as 2 times that. So for example, here's a rectangle. It's a 3 by 6, width is 3, length is 6. I know that the opposite length is going to be 6. So I'll mark that down here. I also know the opposite width is going to be 3. So I'll mark that down here. So using the old way, I could say 6 plus 6 plus 3 will give me the perimeter, because that's the distance all the way around. But there's a faster way. Instead of 6 plus 6, I can just do 2 times 6. And instead of 3 plus 3, I can just say 2 times 3. Now, let's figure this out. 2 times 6 equals 12. What's 2 times 3? 6. So if I add up my 2 parts, I'm going to get 18. And guess what? I'd get the same thing if I did 6 plus 6, which is 12, and 3 plus 3, which is 6. But that's going to help us out for the next section when we do not have the side length, and instead we're given the perimeter. So if you can use this strategy, 2 times one side plus 2 times the other side to find perimeter, then you'll be able to find a missing side length. So now that I know that 2 times the length is 12, 2 times the width is 6, and I can add them together to get 18, I can use that same 2 times strategy to work backward. So now, instead of not knowing the perimeter and knowing the sides, we're going to use the times 2 trick to find the missing sides if we know the perimeter. So we're going to work backwards. Here's what I mean. Here is our rectangle, and it has a perimeter of 10 all the way around. We know that the length is 3, but we don't know the width. I can use counting by 2s to help me find that missing piece. All I have to do is count by 2's until I get to 10. And how many 2's I have is this answer here, this plus 3. So let's count by 2's and find out. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. How many 2's did I just count? 5. So I counted 5 2's, so my answer 5 goes up here. And guess what? 5 is 3 plus something. So all I have to do now is take away that 3 to find out the missing side. And the answer is 5 minus 3 is 2. 2 plus 3 is 5. And I promise you it'll work because 3 plus 2 is 5 and 3 plus 2 is 5, and that makes 10. Let's try another one. We're going to use the times 2 or the 2 count trick one more time. This rectangle has a perimeter of 20. The length is 8, and I don't know what the width is. So I'm going to count by 2's again. I'm going to use that times 2 trick until I get to 20. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. How many 2's did I just count? 10. So my answer up here, this plus this, has to equal 10. And I already know this is 8, so what's left over? 2. Check your answer. 8 plus 2 makes 10, and 2 plus 8 makes 10, and 10 plus 10 makes 20. So it works. Let's try the times 2 trick one more time. This time I got a really big perimeter. This is a 28 all the way around. We've got a length of 4, and we don't know what our width is. So let's count by 2's until we get to 28. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. Okay, well this time how many 2's did I count? 5, 10, 13, 14, 15. Nope, 10, 11, 12, 13. I got 14 2's there. I counted 14 2's. So my answer up here is going to be 14. Well, listen, I know this is 4, and if these two together make 14, then what's left over? 10. And you see how that makes 28? 10 plus 10 is 20. 4, here I'll even write it in. 10 plus 10 is 20. 4 plus 4 is 8. And it just goes back again. So this times 2, this counting by 2's trick really works. All you have to do is count by 2's until you get to your perimeter. And then whatever number 2's you had is your number that your length plus width is. So the next time you're trying to find a missing side length of a rectangle and you know the perimeter, just try counting by 2's, and then that'll give you your length plus width, and then you just take away the leftover and you find the missing side. I hope that helps. So we had a request for a little bit more help with the missing side length with perimeter here. So I'm looking at a rectangle with a perimeter of 26. I also know the length is 9, or the width is 9, but I'm missing the length. So again, I'm going to use that times 2 strategy, or counting by 2's, to find the missing length. So here we go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. Okay, so how many 2's did I count to get up to 26? 5, 10, 11, 12, 13. So my answer here is 13, and that's 9 plus the length. So now I just have to figure out whatever's left over for the length. I know my width is 9, I know my length is something, and I know the total is 13. So you could count up, and you could go 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and you could get 4. Or if you want to subtract, you can do 13 minus 9, and you're still going to get 4. So your answer for this first missing length is 4. I'm going to use the times 2 trick again right here. I know my perimeter is 24. All the way around is 24. I know this length is 8. This is an 8 right here if you can't read it. And my missing length here. So I'm going to count by 2's until I get to 24. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. How many 2's is that? 12. So I know that this missing length here plus 8 has to equal 12. So what's the missing length? 9, 10, 11, 12. The missing length is 4. See how quick that is? It works every time. Let's try one more. I got a perimeter of 18 all the way around. I'll write that a little bigger. I got a width of 4, and I got a missing length here. So again, I'm going to count by 2s until I get to 18. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Oh, that's it. How many 2s did I count? 9. So then I know that this width plus this length has to equal 9. What's the missing part? 5, because 5 plus 4 equals 9. All right, I'll do one more just for fun, okay? We got a perimeter of 22 all the way around. We got a width of 9 and a missing length here. So I count by 2s until I get to 22. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. So how many times did I count by 2s that time? 11. So I know that my width plus my length has to equal 11, and I know my width is already 9, which makes my length 2. Okay, so it doesn't work for everybody, but the times 2 counting by 2 strategy works for me, and I hope it works for you.